Happy Saturday, lovers. Hope you are fantastic, fabulous, and of course, totally badass and amazing on this beautiful Saturday morning in Australia, Friday evening if you're pretty much anywhere else that is not here. What I wanted to talk with you today was a bit about what came up in my journaling session today. So before I was able to journal today, hey Tamara, can't wait to see your ass tomorrow, Nicola, next week. So exciting for Champagne Supernova. So I took my daughter to piano lessons and I was just, hanging out on stage as you do. And I'm just like, it feels like there is so much unleashing that needs to happen in the world. Sitting on that stage, looking out into the empty sitting area, also known as the audience, or the auditorium, I suppose you'd call it. And I'm just like, man, there is so much, imagine the potential that people have felt sitting on this stage before they even got out, so standing in the wings and being ready to being ready to walk onto that stage. Makes me think at the start of a Robbie Williams song. I don't know if you guys have listened to his Heavy Entertainment Show album. That album has been one of the most amazing, inspiring albums for me to actually listen to. And it's not just about the music. It is about the music and it's about Robbie, because, Hall Pass, #Hall Pass. But the other side of that is one of his songs. I can't remember the name of it, but it comes in and it's walk onto that stage like it's your destiny. Stand and tell the truth, make no apologies. And I was just that song was just kind of going through my head, and it's how often do we, as business owners, entrepreneurs, storytellers, artists, healers, whatever it is that, you do, how often is it that we hold ourselves back? And I know for me that I have been someone who has probably absolutely in the past, held probably 90% of me back. Now, what that looks like to me is, or what it looked like for me, and maybe this will resonate with you, I suggest that it probably will, is that we've got this burning dream, desire, goal of wanting more, right? And I'm so done with people saying, oh yeah, I want this but, or, I really love to do this but. And what I mean by that is people, for some reason, we've been led by industry, society, tall poppies, that it's not okay to want what we want. So some of you know my story where ever since being a child, I've wanted to be famous. I've wanted to be well known. I've wanted to be a household name for all of the right reasons, of course, not the wrong ones. I don't want the notoriety that badly. Not Ted Bundy styles, I would much rather be the Gwen Stefani, the Madonnas, the J-Lo, that kind of thing. And I guess what it got me thinking about was, for so long, I tried to be online and actually at work and even in relationships and friendships and things like that. It's we try to be all things to all people. We often try to appeal to everyone, and therefore 90% of our personalities can be quashed, squashed, downtrodden, kept in a box. Or there might be elements that we kind of bring out. It sounds a little bit like a multiple personality disorder, actually, where you bring out one kind of personality for one thing, one kind of personality for another, one kind of personality for another, because we fear that we're going to be too much or not enough, or that the way that we are naturally isn't going to fit in the way that our audience wants to see us, right? Maybe we wonder, and I know this is true for me. It's if I tell dad jokes, people are going to sit there going you are an idiot, Nicola, and roll their eyes, press stop listening, turn me off, whatever, go off and find somebody else to follow. And I was petrified. Now, I am the queen of the dad jokes, right? I'm the queen of all of the words. I used to worry that if I just kept talking, that people would get freaking bored and they would just zone out. I also used to worry, well, okay, so I'll try and keep my things short. And I'd still have the same freaking fear. It's like, well, what if I'm not going for long enough? What if I'm not giving enough value? What if I'm not creating the picture big enough? And all of this kind of thing, where in reality, hey, Jess, the thing that tends to happen is that when we try to force ourselves into being who we think that we need to be in order to be seen, heard, visible, respected, listened to, acknowledged, bought from, whatever, we leave like 90% of us hidden in the cupboard that's like open over there, which makes me really grumpy actually that there is an open code. So we're just going to ignore that over there right now. But I suppose hey Casey, what it got me thinking about is how often do we do this? You know, how often do we hold ourselves back? And the thing that I want to challenge you with is, what if the thing that you've been holding back, like that big chunk of you that you've been holding back, what if that is the very thing that is actually going to have you being seen, being heard, being listened to, being admired, being magnetic, that thing that actually creates that lighting up of you like a moth to a flame, right? For me, what this is like, this is how you create the it factor, right? This is how you create magnetism. It's by being completely unapologetically, unashamedly you, showing up, talking about the stuff that you want to talk about, talking about the things that are important to you, sharing your dad jokes, sharing your shitty times, if that's appropriate depending on what's going on, and stuff like that. You know, I've got a client who has a newborn baby who's would be about 4 months old now. So not quite exactly, fresh out the oven newborn, but 4 months is still really little. And one of the conversations that we've had is about sharing the trials and tribulations that come along with all of that, right? So it's like about literally going, hey guys, you've got to create some me time. It's actually okay for you to be you. Like, this is what's going on. It's okay for you to want to be sexy and gorgeous and, get that body back. Just because you're a mum doesn't mean that you have to be this way or that way or whatever. Do the right thing that it is for you. Hey, Carol. And I guess like the thing with that, I'm like, if you've got the baby on the boob, it's no problem going and doing a live, because it kind of demonstrates the point that you find these little glimpses and slices of time in your day to be able to do the thing that you're doing. I've got other clients that I know have got like 1 billion children. That's an exaggeration. But like many children, and I know that the juggle is freaking real. I've got 3 and one's like pretty independent and I still juggle all of the things. So, where people become stuck is that they think that they've got to be a certain way in order to create impact, in order to create the it factor, in order to create the confidence, the message, the stuff that is going to get out there. But then they get caught up because, they want to appeal to their audience. Here's the trick. The secret to all of the things is that your audience, your ideal audience, hey Paul, happy Saturday. Your ideal audience, some people call them soulmate clients, some people call them your ideal perfect client, your niche, your avatar, whatever the fuck you want to call it, I don't care. These are the clients, the people that you love working with, the people that you as the leader would almost and would probably actually walk over hot fucking coals for. Would you walk over hot coals for asshole clients? No. And therefore they're not the kind of people that I want to work with. The people that I want to work with are absolutely clients that I love and adore and cherish, whether it's for a month, whether it's 6 months, whether it's 5 years. Like one of my clients, I would almost do nearly anything to help them. Those people for you, whatever you want to call them, let's call them the hot coal clients, That kind of rings true. I like that. The hot coal clients, the people that you would walk over hot coals for, they can't even hear you. Hey, Kylie, they can't even see you. You don't even exist in their awareness when you are playing at 10% of your personality. When you are only sharing the stuff that you feel like you should share in the way that you should share it, in the way that you think that you should do it, by the way that you think that you should be, that you should dress, the things that you should say, the coffee that you should drink, the whatever the fuck it is that you feeling like you're shooting yourself around. Those people that you really want to work with, those people that light you up, that set your soul on fire, the people who you are in turn going to light up and set their souls on fire, right? Not their feet, because they're immune to the hot coals, because they're your hot coal clients, right? They can't even hear you if you're not showing up. And that's a real... You're doing them a disservice. You're doing yourself a disservice, because they're the people that you are going to be able to do that your life's work with, right? They are the people that you are going to create and propel into whatever realm, whatever area that they need to be, propelled into. The thing is that the 10% of you that is being shown to the world, it's actually not enough. I'm really sorry, but it's not. Well, it is if you're happy to sit in the land of mediocre. It is if you're happy to sit in the land of average. It's okay if you want to sit in the land of, you get your 15 minutes of fame, right? If you want to have your 15 minutes of fame, then keep playing at 10%. But if you want that activation, if you want the fame, the fortune, the legacy, the impact, the stuff that is going to continue to ripple out and ripple out and ripple out and ripple out and ripple out from here until like whenever the ripple stops, which let's face it is fucking never, then you have an absolute obligation, not only to them, but to yourself, because nothing else is going to cut it. If you think about the people that have got it, the people who are working it, the people who are out there transforming lives, creating ripples, they have decided to leave their soul on the freaking table. They show up, they turn up, they do the thing that they need to do, not only for their clients and their prospects, but for themselves. I think for me, one of the things that I used to worry about was that people wouldn't get my brand of crazy, that they wouldn't get my brand of ridiculousness, that they wouldn't get my brand of the way that I do things, that they only would buy from me because of the ones and zeros, right? Because of this is how you create a funnel and this is how you create ads. And that type of thing is kind of like, well, it kills your soul, if you're thinking that, because it actually shifts the value of the way that you see yourself from being a transformer, a conduit of light, for argument's sake, or whatever, to only being about the ones and zeros, the piece of paper that people can buy from you, the time that they can buy from you, the can of soup that they can buy off your fucking shelf. And it's not, that's actually not where your value is. Your value is in here, and it's in the way that you do things. Paul, be authentic and take what you think the should off and have impact on attracting the right clients. Exactly. 100%. Now, I'm someone, if you want to really funny laugh at me, which, you're all entitled to do, which is totally fine. Thanks, Christine, you're gorgeous. I used to play at the 10%. I did. I used to be very professional because I thought that was the only way that I was going to make it. I thought that I wasn't able to write the way that I write. So I tried really hard to kind of, sandwich and compress me, my genius, my strategies, my thoughts, my thinking, my flow, like the way that I do things. I tried really freaking hard to compress me into the way that I believed for a while that I should do things. I was very professional. I came from a freaking corporate 12-year career in corporate. You know, how can you be anything but professional like when you come out of that? And it takes a lot of detoxing, but most of the time, the reason that we compress this 90% of us is for two reasons. Number one is because what we think that we should do in order to be taken seriously. And let's face it, you know, making $1 million a year, $2 million a year, $5 million a year, not that I've done that yet. It's very serious business, right? It's not. It's just a freaking number. The other thing that tends to happen, and this is what I've seen, I've noticed, I've witnessed this in clients, I've witnessed this in myself, is like we kind of go, all right, instead of playing in that 10%, I'm going to go to 100, right? You embrace that extra 90. And then you start hitting goals, you start doing things, and then there comes a point usually where you're like, okay, this has been going really, really, really great. I can kind of cruise for a little while and I want to level up. I want to scale it. I want to get to that next level. I want to either go national. I want to go international. I need to do all these things. I want to do all of these things. And that's usually about creating bigger impact, right? And that's really what it's all about. It's about helping as many people as we can possibly help, doing the thing that you're here to do. But what happened for me is like, okay, right, well, I'm doing $1 million a year right now. How do I double this? Okay, I better go learn something new. I better go do another course. I better go and do this other thing. I better change the way that I write, because doubling from $1 million to $2 million is going to require some serious thinking, some serious work. And what happens, like particularly for me, what happened is like, all right, well, you know, I'm typically in a consumer space, so it's business to business, but it's not in the corporate space. And one of the things that I looked at about 18 months ago was like, okay, so one of the ways, or maybe 2 years, one of the ways that I could look at scaling my business would be to get into corporate, right? It's kind of like a thing, like play in the consumer market, play in the corporate market, or the public market rather, in the consumer market. Like I can do all of this. And so it's like, well, if I'm going to go into corporate, I better be really professional. And I've got to do this and I've got to do that. And again, you know, I kind of, because we haven't done the things that we want to do yet, we make up all of these stories in our heads around how we should be, what we should do in order to get to that place that we don't know how to get there yet because we haven't been there. And you're not going to get there sustainably, which is really the key to everything. We're not going to be able to get there sustainably by operating or pulling back and putting part of you back in the cupboard again. You've constantly got to be willing, in order to call in the people that you want to be able to call in, whether it's in corporate, whether it's in the public market, you've got to be willing to be 150% you. The 10% version of you is not going to cut it. For those of us that are looking at really creating massive brands around us, making money, making impact, because what does all of that mean? To me, it means that you are helping a hell of a lot of people globally. You know, there is no limit to the number of people that you can impact and influence when you are being you. What that then means is that you're able to influence a whole bunch of people. You're able to teach them, help them, heal them, guide them, transform them, whatever the thing is that you do, no matter where they are in the world. This means that you will automatically get more clients, because that's just what will happen. And that means that you're going to be able to make more money. And then when you make more money, and this is one of the things that I had to kind of deal with a few years ago, is like, well, why do I even want to make more freaking money? Like, why is it a thing? Why do I want to keep doing this? And the reason that you would want to do that is because it means that you can do more good in the world. It means that you can do whatever it is that you want to be able to do, that you've got more freedom, right? Because the money without meaning is, well, meaningless, right? It doesn't mean anything. So to me, the more money you're making, the more people you're helping, it's a really great reflective mirror as to the number of lives that you're transforming. But also it means that you're able to do a whole lot more good in the world. It means that you're able to leave an even more powerful and an even bigger legacy. Yeah, it leads to fame and fortune and all of this type of stuff, but it's really more about the joy, the joy of living, the joy of you doing your work, your soul's work, the stuff that you're here to do. Now, all of that means that you're going to have to you're going to have to embrace the 100%ness that is you, the it factor. You've got to be able to pull all of that out, use it, and then propel that out into the internet, the universe, the world, the energetic realm, everything like that. Because it's only when you've really captured that it factor, when you've really captured that 100%ness of you, that people are going to be like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for you to show up. Like, how have I not known you before? And it's simply because you've been invisible to them, because they didn't even know that you even existed. They didn't even know to tune in. And they've just been sitting there waiting, almost like a stem cell sits there and waits to be coded and activated into doing what it needs to do. That's kind of like what your audience is like. They're sitting there waiting to be activated, waiting for you to show up so that they can say, finally, thank God you're here. Great name for a TV show. Thank God you're here. You know, I just need to be able to do this. I need your help. And that's what it's all about. So stop playing at 10%. Now, the thing that often happens is that people are like, oh, yes, you know, it's all well and good for you to say, Nicola, you know, rah, 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 you've had all these years to practice and whatever else. It's like, well, yeah, I have actually. But you don't have to spend 9 years trying to cultivate the confidence to be able to do this. You don't have to spend 18 months, you know, working stuff out. You don't have to spend time penduluming from one side to the other, you know, swinging back and forth in order to find it. There are a lot of things that I've learned and know, obviously, over the last 9 years that I teach, that I help, that I guide with. So if you believe that I'm perhaps the right person to help you, if you're the kind of person that is like, Nicola, I don't know what the fuck you're on, but I just need me some of that, then message me. I am opening up applications I've opened up applications to the It Factor. The It Factor is a 6-month program where we are working on rewiring your mindset. We're getting your message done. We're, of course, marketing, because why would we not? And we're getting you media ready. And what that means is that if you want to write a book, we're going to have your book planning and everything done. I open up my little black book so that you've got all of the contacts that I've got in order to be able to get you out there. But most importantly, I really wholeheartedly believe, and a lot of people will say, oh, this is something that I would love to do maybe in the future, in 3 months, maybe 6 months. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have the blah, blah, the IP, whatever. You know, you've got to fucking stop that. There is no time other than now, because the time that you spend sitting on your laurels, hiding that 90% of you in the cupboard, not being out there for your hot, cold clients, right? They are likely to be activated, turned on, caught up, swept up by someone else who is not you. Now, I'm not saying that that person that they decide to work with is inferior or superior. But here's the thing, like, if your people aren't getting the help from you, then they're not getting the help from you, and you know that you can do the thing that you do better than anybody else in the world. It's actually ridiculous when you think about it, how many clients you don't have right now that you're able to help do the thing that you do, right? And that's what this is all about. It's really about you doing the thing that you're here to do. The risk of not doing it now, the risk of you waiting, I mean, take me out of it. I'm applications for this, like, we start on the 10th of May, right? So time is of the essence. The sooner you start, the sooner you start. There are bonuses and blah, 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 all that stuff, which, you know, if we're messaging back and forth, if we're talking, you'll get the whole rundown on all of that. Take all of that out of it. The biggest risk that you run by not doing something now is that little seed, that little kernel of self-doubt, that little fucking cockroach that skitters around can be the type of thing that leads to inaction, and in 6 months' time, and I know because people have told me this even in the last week, that when they don't do things, when they don't have structure, ass kicking, accountability, when they don't know exactly what it is that they need to do, they end up sitting there spinning their wheels, and 6 months goes past and you're still in the exact same fucking space that you're in right now, or worse, you've gone backwards because those seeds of self-doubt germinate, they get bigger, and they're like a big freaking tree in your head that's got all of the roots going into all of the places. And, you know, that's the stuff that kills you. It's the stuff that leads to regrets. It's the stuff that, you know, when you look back, you're like, fuck, you know, I wish that I just freaking leaped. And I don't know about you, but I am so passionate about helping you guys. I am so passionate about what it is that I do, that the thought of not being willing to risk everything, and I've risked everything. I've risked money, I've risked relationships, I've risked my health. I don't recommend you do that. I don't recommend you do all of that actually, but I do recommend that you absolutely fucking back yourself every single day. And the best thing that you can ever double down on, the best thing that you can ever risk is yourself. Put yourself on the line. And what's the worst fucking thing that happens? Quite seriously, what is the worst thing that happens? I was having a conversation with my daughter yesterday, and she's working, and she's having some conversations with her employer that aren't excellent. Let's say there's some issues that need to be ironed out. And I've been helping her with these conversations that tend to happen via text, which drives me insane. But anyway, that's a whole other kettle of fish. And I just said to her, she goes, oh, I'm really scared to send this. And I said, well, honey, like, what's the worst that happens? She goes, I get sacked. I said, okay, and then what? She goes, but I'll go and find another job. I said, exactly. And what's worse than that? She goes, if I see this person, it's going to be really fucking awkward. And I said, well, yeah, probably will be. Is that the worst thing that happens? She goes, yeah. And I said, so fucking send it. You know, we get caught up in the what ifs. We get caught up in all the things. But really, to me, if you really wholeheartedly believe that you are here for not ordinary, that you are here for great things, for fame, for fortune, for being a household name, for helping millions upon millions of people doing the thing that you do, and you come and you're saying, well, you know, the timing's not right, or I don't have the money, or whatever else, then when is that actually going to change? It's like, seriously, when is that going to change? And are you ever going to be willing to back yourself? Like, I've literally taken money out of money that's been put aside for my tax and invested it with mentors. Because I'm like, if I'm not willing to wholeheartedly, completely back myself, how can I expect you to do it? How can I be willing to lose it all, right? I'm not going to lose it all. But if I would be absolutely prepared if it came down to it, I would sell my fucking house. I would sell my car. I would go and make sandwiches just to make money. I am absolutely willing to risk it all in order to do the things that I'm here to do. And that's just me. Not everybody is in that boat. Not everybody is willing, and that's fine. But if you really want what you say that you want, then you will find a way. But you've got to back yourself. And I don't really care. I mean, I care. But whether you work with me or whether you work with someone else, it doesn't matter, right? The fact of the matter is that you've got to be willing to back yourself, go fucking all in, like sometimes up to your eyeballs and beyond. But here's the thing. Your audience will find you, right? I guess that's not what I was trying to say. What I was actually trying to say is that the universe has got you back. Now, every time I back myself into a corner, every time, hands down, without failure, something changes and something happens and miracles happen. It's just the way that things work. So that's really what's needed to get to the beyond of where it is that you are right now. And I'm not saying that everybody wants to be there. Not everybody wants to be rich and famous and, you know, on TV and in the paper and in magazines and this, that, and the other. But here's the thing that I know for certain. The more you are out there, the more people you're helping. And being a 10% version of you is not going to cut it. It's just not. So that's that, really. If you want to find out more about the It Factor, then message me. I would love to chat with you. Like I said, it's not for everyone. It is 6 months. It is intensive. It is the ultimate thing for people that are looking for visibility, fame, and fortune, of course. But most importantly, without compromising alignment, without compromising fun, without compromising joy, without compromising your soul and doing the things that you love with your hot coal clients. Cole says that, it's so bizarre. Most of all though, I just want you to get busy, take action, get out there, go help some people, transform some lives, and have a whole bunch of fucking fun doing it. Get visible, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.